First off, just want to comment on the news about Deion Sanders and what he's gone through, and just really wish him full recovery, speedy recovery. But really just admire the courage it takes to come out and talk about that in public, and really encourage other people and encourage other people to get themselves checked and tested. And I mean, it hits home with a lot of people, I'm sure. So really look forward to him being on the other sideline in a month from now. And man, gosh, just terrible situation, but glad to see he's really pushed through it. And the grit and the toughness that he has. I mean, that's why the team plays the way they do. So, wish him a speedy recovery. And then, actually, Mike, as we're in there talking, I want to make sure I talked about he was kind of filling me in a little bit on the update on what happened in New York and at the office building there. And just, my sympathy from myself and everybody here goes out to all those affected and just another horrible tragedy there. So, I want to make sure to comment on both of those things first. Those hit home pretty close. So, but it's good to be back out on the field. We've got things we've got to accomplish this training camp. We had a really good summer. A 10-week session this summer, and now it's time to go through 4 weeks of training camp. 3 of them in the midst of it, and then 1 week of game prep. We got a long way to go. We got a chance to have a good football team. But there's no shortcuts, and like I told the team afterwards, there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and there's no in between here, right? And everybody's held accountable to that. Everybody's held to that same expectation, the same standard, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's my job to make sure they're held to that, and we're not slacking off at all. We got to get the most out of everybody out there, every opportunity we get. So, obviously it was a little warm out there today, but 2 of our first 3 games we're playing in the same type of conditions, here at home. So, we got to get used to it. We got to get prepared for it. We got to practice in it so we can be able to play in it. Why do we do certain things? Well, that's the way you play football. So, football, you run, you hit, you wear pads, you practice. You play at 12 o'clock, you play at 3 o'clock. So, we're always talking about shrinking that gap between practice and games, and that's what that's all about. So. Really, the objectives going into camp this year for us were really to continue to develop the overall toughness of our football team. The mental toughness and the physical toughness that goes into being the type of team we want to be. To really establish our core foundation of discipline, right? And everybody hears discipline, and discipline's not punishment, right? Punishment is punishment. Discipline is discipline, right? Discipline's a choice that everybody makes, and really the 22 hours that you're not on the field during training camp is when discipline really matters the most. How you're taking care of your body, how you're hydrating, how you're getting your rest, how you're studying your playbook, all those things. We want to be a team that excels in our fundamentals, our fundamental techniques for each position played. I want to make sure throughout all practice that the individuals carry over into the group periods, and the group periods carry over into the team periods. And then a month from now we'll start carrying those over into games. But we want to be have strong fundamentals, and let that be one of the things that separates us from other football teams. To come together as a team, and that's everybody. That's players, that's coaches, staff members, equipment managers, trainers, video. It doesn't matter. We got to come together as a team, and everybody understand their role in the program, and everybody understand how important their individual role is in the program. Right, because we couldn't do what we do if one person decides not to do their job or not do it the best they can. So, coming together as a full team, that's really important. And then, developing trust between players and coaches. And players understand why coaches are on it, why they demand it to be done a certain way. Coaches understand why I'm on them, demanding it to be a certain way. All right, there's got to be a trust factor there. There's got to be a trust and trust is built over the course of time. It's built with relationships, more so than time on the field. And you got to have those, because our job as coaches is to push people and keep them safe while we're doing it. And they've got to trust us that we've got their best interest, and we're going to put them in the best position to be able to have success during the season. And then we want to be the best conditioned team on the field every game we play. All right, and that's not just your cardiovascular, not just your physical shape you're in, all right, but also the best mentally conditioned team of any team that we play all year. So those are really the things we're working towards this year. It's been a long off season, I'll say, of working these things, but now it's time to put it all together and start to tie that bow around the top of it and put ourselves in a position to go play football games. So with that, open with any questions.
One of the noticeable things we watched practice today was the depth and experience level across the positions and all 22 and even your special teams a little bit. It's maybe the most experienced team, and certainly you've had here. What kind of went into that? Was that sort of your goal to build that out, to have that be your portal focus, getting guys to backfill experience, and then also having the guys that you developed over the last few years?
Well, I mean, really, that's something that started 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, in recruiting. Is not just bringing a player in because it's the best player you can bring in. Right? But you still have to be conscious of what class they are, the spacing between guys at certain positions. I mean, you don't want to get a situation where every position is 4, 5, 6 guys leaving that year. Right? You got to be able to develop guys in your program. Your fourth safety, your fifth safety, your seventh, eighth offensive lineman. Those guys that have been here in the program have been here for 2 years, 3 years. Right? To be able to retain those guys, I think that was really important for us. And then from January all the way until May, our approach in the portal was we wanted to take guys that had proven experience and proven track records of production and improvement through play on the field. Right? We didn't want to take guys that might have been such and such coming out of high school or 1 year and then sit on the bench somewhere and didn't really get time. So we addressed all those needs. Obviously the NFL model is it's the top 10 players on the team and how they're ranked and by certain teams. It's pretty much the same 8 to 10 in all of them. But there's also 52 guys on the team. Right? College there's still over 100 guys on the football team, and you got to develop those guys. So it's just as important, really, to elevate that bottom third of your roster every year. That bottom, the 25, 30, because if you're elevating that, now you're elevating the rest of your team as well. So really a double-edged approach we took there with increasing and acquiring and retaining some of those top positions on the team, but also improving really the bottom third of the roster.
Sticking with the portal, at the end of the season, you were a little thin in the secondary as far as experience goes. You had 4 starters coming back, but you brought in 4 pretty good transfers with experience. What have you seen from them, and what have they added to the secondary?
Yeah, I mean, we just have underwear on right now, so it's tough to really tell what they're doing. But we do have some depth back there. We've got experience depth. We've got depth that's played. Like I said, played in football games, shown improvement in football games. Not just go out and they practice for 2 years somewhere. Guys that have had action, been productive. We're gonna have really good competition there. And look, you have guys that are back that are starters. That means that they have experience in your program. Right? Doesn't always necessarily mean they're the best players at that position on the team. And my job as the head coach is to make sure the best player at each position is on the field playing.
In terms of injuries, it seems like you're pretty healthy going into camp. Had most of your guys today. Is there anyone that, in particular, other than I know Stevenson last in the spring, but anyone else that has anything that's kind of lingering into the season?
No, I mean we talked about Chad in the springtime. Chad will be out part of the season this year, but don't know when to expect him back. He's way ahead of schedule, way ahead of his progress. He's actually he's made so much improvement this offseason. But that could be something. Could be October. I don't know. Could be September. He's way ahead of schedule on that. So, but again, that's why we increased the depth at that position. We've got 7 scholarship guys there at that position and at the running back spot, and it's important. We use those guys. We're multiple with the way we use them, the way we practice. All of a sudden, one guy rolls an ankle, one guy gets twisted up, then a helmet comes off, and you're down to kind of the bottom of the depth chart. So, in my mind, whoever ends up being the 3rd, 4th, 5th running back, I mean, those guys are just as important as 1 and 2 because they're going to play a lot of football this year.
I know you talked about expectations from the outside and kind of having that, more importance on what's inside. Just talk about your expectations for this team this year. Obviously, back-to-back winning seasons. Just kind of talk about your expectations from the inside for this team being high.
Well, that's why they're internal expectations, because they stay internal. I'm serious. It's internal, external. Y'all's job is external. Our job's internal. Difference is y'all tell us your external expectations. And I mean, they're high. They're very high. And that's all I'll say is that, no matter what the external expectations are, they should never be higher than what your internal expectations are of yourself.
It seems like there's a lot of expectations on your quarterback room. What have you seen from Haynes King, Aaron Philo, maybe in the offseason, and what you expect from them to take a step forward this
All I
season?
saw on the field was that red shirt. I was going to bring you a nice GT polo out. All right, can you repeat that again? Could you repeat the question again?
Your quarterback room. How did they take the next step forward?
How do they take the next step forward? We got a really good quarterback room, and I think the last 8 months they've taken a huge step forward just because of the competition. And look, you don't play quarterback at this level and be able to play at the level our guys have played at if that's not a constant drive for you to become better every day. I don't believe in guys plateau out or top out or reach their potential or I truly believe everybody can work to be better every day. And look, if you're not working to be better and improve yourself, you're getting worse. So there's so many small things they can work on. And that's everybody. I know that's not what we're looking for, but.
Obviously, you get a chance to see these guys out on the field. You've seen them through the spring, now on the field for the fall. It's obviously early. These guys are not in pads, but how these guys are flying around on defense, where do you kind of feel like that group is at this point, as you guys obviously have a lot of work to do, but at this point right now?
Yeah, what we'll really be able to tell as the week, starts to end in the beginning of next week. Things will start to shake themselves out. But it was noticeable the speed on defense, hands on the ball, tight coverage, transitioning coverage. Guys transition to the football. As a team, we got to do a much better job of running to the ball. That sun beating down on them a little bit today. Put some heavy weights on their shoulders. But we got to push through that. I mean, that's the job of the coaches. That's the job of the players to push through those things while at the same time taking care of our guys and making sure they're in a good position and healthy out there. But just nature of the defense too. That was a big thing when we made the transition in January. Was we wanted to make simplify some things for a few spots. I know Kyle talked about that at media day last week, and have guys that can fly around the football, have get multiple hands on the ball, disrupt the opponent's offense, get hands on the football, get turnovers, right? Create disruption in the front end. So I was pleased with all three of those things really today. But like I said, we got a long way to go. But we are a faster defense for sure. Yes.
Coach, you just talk about the confidence level of this team, like not to knock any of the previous, teams in previous years, but you see this team, like you said, flying around the football. They just look like a lot more confident team going through the reps.
That's great to hear because, confidence is something that it's hard to come by a lot of times. So many individuals are insecure, or not confident in themselves, and a lot of that is part of the external factors that are out there in the world. And to have a group of guys that does have confidence but not arrogance. I try to portray that as well with the team because I want them to be confident. Right? Look, we got good football players. Right? We got good football players that work their butts off. So, they should have confidence. Right? If you don't have confidence, I mean, you got zero chance. And all these things we talk about, I mean, they're not giving us any reason to celebrate. Right? They just give you an opportunity and a chance to be able to put it all together and celebrate at the end of the year. So I think it's a really good thing.
Time for a couple more. Do you think you found a guy in Nichols to be a guy that can consistently turn the field for you?
I hope so. I can't do it. I don't know. Rod, you don't have any eligibility left. I don't know if you'd fit in the uniform. But he's pretty good. Changes some things for us.
With the altitude aspect going into the first.
I got no idea. Guys, this first day of practice of preseason camp, I got no idea about altitude, guys.
Was that something you thought about, though, in terms of
I just said I got no idea about it. I'm not lying to you. I really don't. We played BYU up there in 2010 or 11 or something. that's about the closest I've been to that. As I've never lived north of 285, really. So
One other question. All right, so pivoting here. The wide receiver room is pretty impressive. 10, 11 deep there right now, going into the season for the first time since you've been here. Can you talk about what you've seen from that group?
yeah, more bodies, that's for sure. That was another thing when you talk about transfer and building the roster out this offseason, that we knew we had to add bodies at certain skill spots. For practice matters, to be able to get more guys on the field practicing at once, because all of a sudden you run out of numbers at one position. Well, now that affects maybe, if you run out of receivers, that affects the O-line who need those reps, and it all just starts to unravel. So addressing the needs at some of those positions. And look, there's a whole big book of reasons why we added different body types and different positions at different positions. Hey, Mari, come here. Come here, Mari. Come here. All right, so ask Amari that question. They just asked me, they said, talk about the receiver room, the depth in the receiver room, and how it's different now having more bodies there and what I've seen out of them. So go ahead, you see them every day?
I like it. It's pretty deep, man. It's great competition out there. We got our 2 FIU transfers. We got some young guys stepping up. We got Zion Taylor, got Isaiah.
Isaiah's your boy.
Yeah, we go at it, man. That's how it's supposed to be, though. Whoever, number 85, I don't got his name yet, but he's going to be one of the ones.
Is he real fast?
Yeah, he real fast. He always found a way around the ball.
Don't worry, because those numbers mess me up too, man. I don't know who's who. I just know what your number is.
Yeah, it was a great competition out there today.
All right. See you later. See you, dude.
Brent, do you want to wrap us up?
There you go. Does that answer your question? Yeah. But it's exciting to have those guys out there. We got some dynamic guys, and we got to get them in the right position.
Coach, heading to another full season at the helm, how have you kind of seen your growth, I guess, as a coach? What have you kind of learned over the last couple of years heading into this year where you feel maybe different, maybe things you've learned? I'm asking to be a little bit introspective, but, I mean, it's day one, so you got a little bit of time.
Talk about a book. That's probably a better question to ask somebody else about me, but there's so much. I say it like this. You go through year one and you make all the decisions and you do all the things you do. And of course, you think it's the right thing or you wouldn't be doing it, right? Well, then year two, you realize how messed up you were, right? And how bad you screwed a lot of those things up. Well, then when you're sitting there in year two, you can choose to ignore that and just go on about the way, go on about your day and the business. Or you can adjust and fix those things that you realize that weren't right in year one. Well, therefore, that makes year one again or year two almost like a new year one, right? Because you're putting all of it back together. And then by that third year, I told the staff and I've told the players on the team, I mean, I feel as focused and clear-headed and almost like blinders on right now with the mission that's in front of us. And, that'll become more and more that way with more experience, ability to anticipate things, kind of quiet the noise that goes around every day, and focus on what's really important. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to sit there and think of it now, and I go back and look at my notes from a year ago or 2 years ago, and you see, really how things have changed and how I've changed and the coaches have changed. We've all evolved and adapted and become better versions of ourselves.
Thank you, Coach.
That's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Need more players up here. All right, appreciate y'all.